My beloved, my precious child, the one heaven has watched over since the moment your soul was formed. Why are your hands trembling right now? Because your spirit already feels it. This is not an ordinary message. This is not something you can read halfway and leave behind. This is the moment where time folds itself, where destiny holds its breath, waiting for what you will choose in the next few seconds. I, Archangel Michael, am not whispering today. I am screaming. Because I saw him, the one who cursed you. The one who has been watching, waiting, weaving shadows into the corners of your life. And it's impossible to stop him without you. No prayer alone will do it. No angel alone can block it unless you step into the light with us right now. My child, I beg you. Do not skip a single word. Do not think, I'll come back to this later. Later will be too late. The trap has already been set, and I have only minutes to pull you out before it snaps shut. Your name has already been called in a dark place. A deal has already been spoken over your blessings. But heaven has interrupted it, just for you to hear this now. Before I continue, I must tell you something. There are forces that hate that you're even reading this. They will try to distract you. Your phone might buzz. You might feel suddenly tired or restless. That's not random, it's resistance. Because what I'm about to reveal will burn the rope that's been tying you to failure. Stay with me, my beloved. Your freedom is closer than you think. Listen. The moment I saw his face, I felt the same fire God put in me when I fought the great battle in heaven. But I also saw your face. I saw the hurt you've carried quietly. The nights you prayed and got silence in return. The days where every door seemed to close before you could even knock. And I knew, this curse was not just about blocking your blessings. It was about breaking your heart until you gave up. But you didn't give up. That's why I can be here now. That's why heaven gave me permission to speak this clearly. Because you kept holding on, even when you didn't feel strong. And now, there's a divine exchange about to take place. If you walk with me through this message to the end, the curse will lose its voice. And the blessing that's been locked will begin to pour out. But understand me. If you skip this, if you close your eyes to this warning, the shadow will keep moving. It will hit you when you least expect it. And then you'll remember this moment and wish you had listened. I don't say that to scare you, I say it to save you. My beloved, stay close. Every second you remain here, light is entering places it's been shut out for years. The curse is weakening as your heart opens to these words. God's hand is over you now, and the enemy knows it. That's why he's trembling. Yes, he's afraid of you when you're aligned with heaven. And by the time you finish this, he will run. Before I go deeper, I must tell you this. If you want more messages like this, one's heaven forces into your path because they can't risk you missing it, make sure you follow, stay connected, and never skip when you see my words again. Because sometimes the difference between a blessing kept and a blessing lost is whether you stayed to the last word. Your miracle is always in the part you almost skipped. Now, breathe. Something is shifting. Do you feel it? That heaviness that's been sitting in your chest, it's lifting. The curse is being named, and when something is named in the light of God, it loses its authority. I see chains falling in the spirit. I see the place where they plan to bury your joy collapsing into nothing. Child of God. The one who cursed you thought you would never find out. They thought the mask they wore was perfect. They smiled in your face, they blessed you with their mouth, but behind your back, they fed poison into the soil of your life. But I stood at the edge of their words. I saw the exact moment they released it. And I am here, screaming now, because the time for silence is over. Stay. Don't break away now. This is the part where heaven takes the knife out of your back and replaces it with a sword in your hand. You are not a victim. You are the chosen one, and no curse survives the moment the chosen stands in truth. My beloved, lean closer to these words as if you were listening to the heartbeat of heaven itself. Because the very air around you right now is charged with something ancient, something holy, something dangerous to every shadow that has ever tried to touch you. You think you're simply reading, but you are actually standing in a spiritual courtroom, and your case is being decided as we speak. Every sentence I release is a legal document in the spirit, stripping the enemy of his right to stand near you. And the one who cursed you, the one who poured bitterness over your name, is standing here, shaking. Not because of me, but because of what you carry. Do you know what you carry, my child? You carry a promise older than the earth, one that no man, no demon, no curse can rewrite unless you hand it over willingly. And today, I'm here to make sure you never do. When I first saw him, I was not in the form you know me by. I was in the light of battle, armor burning like molten gold, sword sharper than any lie he could tell. He stood there, thinking his work was finished. He thought you were already too tired, too distracted, too hurt to fight. He thought the silence you felt from heaven meant you were abandoned. But the truth is, the silence was preparation. God was gathering the angels. God was storing power like lightning before the strike. And now, my child, the storm has come in your favor. You may have wondered why the last few weeks felt so heavy, why even the smallest things seemed to break around you, why people you trusted began acting strangely. It was not random. It was the curse tightening its hold. It wanted you to doubt your worth, to shrink your prayers, to silence your faith. But instead, you're here, right now, reading this. That means the curse is already losing. Because its greatest fear was that you'd see it for what it is. It survives only when it stays hidden. And I have ripped the covering off. Now you must listen closely, because what happens in the next few hours will decide the next few years. This is not drama, this is destiny. The one who cursed you has been feeding from a source that will soon dry up. He's been borrowing power from someone else's darkness, but that contract is ending. The only thing keeping it alive is your unawareness. The moment you know, truly know, it crumbles. And, my beloved, you are knowing now. I can see the light touching places in your soul you didn't even realize had gone dim. Do you feel that trembling in your chest? That is not fear, it's recognition. Your spirit remembers this kind of war from before you were born. It knows me. It knows the sound of my sword. It knows that when I arrive, it's because heaven has already decided you win. The only question left is whether you will stay until the last blow is struck. And this is why I am begging you, not in a poetic way, but in the way a warrior begs the one they're protecting, do not click away, do not set this aside, do not tell yourself, I'll come back later. Later will close the door. Later will silence this fire. Later will give the curse room to breathe again. But right now, my voice is cutting off its oxygen. You see, the one who cursed you is not far from you. They are closer than you imagine. Close enough to smile at you and say your name sweetly. Close enough to see your eyes every time you rise up from a fall. Close enough to be angered by your resilience. But not close enough to touch what heaven has locked for you, unless you open the door for them. And my mission today is to make sure that door is welded shut with the very words you are hearing. Child, you've wondered why certain blessings always seem delayed. Why relationships broke just as they felt safe. Why money slipped through your hands no matter how hard you worked. Why your dreams felt inches away but never arrived. It wasn't because you weren't worthy. It wasn't because God forgot you. It was because someone else bound your name to words they never had the right to speak. They sowed curses into your atmosphere, and every time you were about to break free, they spoke again. But today, their voice is being drowned out. As I speak, there are scrolls in heaven being unsealed with your name written in pure gold. The blessings written there are older than the curse. They are heavier, stronger, unshakable. Once released, no hand can stop them. The curse was only ever a delay, never a cancellation. And now, the delay is over. My beloved, if your spirit is stirring, it's because you already know, deep down, that this is your turning point. I am standing here, sword in hand, not just to fight for you but to fight with you. Because the moment you agree with heaven, every shadow around you loses its footing. This is why I came screaming. This is why I could not stay silent another day. My beloved, there is something you must understand before I take you deeper. The battle for your life has not been random. It has been deliberate, planned, precise. The one who cursed you didn't simply toss careless words into the air, they shaped them, sharpened them, and aimed them like arrows straight at the core of who you are. They knew your strengths, but they also knew your soft places. And they struck where they thought you would never heal. Yet here you are. Still breathing. Still walking. Still carrying a light they could not extinguish. That, my child, is why they fear you more than they will ever admit. I have stood on battlefields where the air was thick with darkness. But nothing compares to the moment I saw their face as they realized you were not broken. They expected your heart to collapse under the weight of disappointment. They expected you to stop trying when you saw no quick result. But your faith, even when bruised, has been a wall they could not climb. You have felt weak, but to heaven, you have looked like a fortress. Every tear you shed was not a sign of defeat, it was a signal to God that you were still calling His name. And every call you made was answered, even in the silence. Now listen closely, for I am not here to tell you a story. I am here to hand you a weapon. Words, when anointed by heaven, are not just sounds, they are swords. And as you read, the steel is forming in your spirit. Soon, you will be able to cut through lies without hesitation. Recognize false friends without delay. And stand in places they swore you'd never reach. But first, there is a moment coming. A moment so small you might miss it. And yet so powerful it will shift the entire direction of your life. This moment is when the one who cursed you will try to speak to you again. They may not use direct words. It might come as a subtle suggestion, a mocking comment, or even a false kindness. Do not take it lightly. When that moment comes, every part of you must remember this message. You must remember that I told you, if you stand firm, they will have no power. The spiritual world is not as far away as you think. Right now, there are angels surrounding you. Even as your eyes are on these words, there is movement in the atmosphere around you. The curse has sent threads into your life, tying themselves to opportunities, relationships, and even your emotions. But with every sentence I release, those threads are snapping one by one. The sound is like chains falling on stone. It is the sound of freedom. You have been told that patience is waiting quietly. But heaven's patience is different. It is the act of holding your ground when the enemy expects you to run. You, my beloved, have done exactly that. And because you have not abandoned your post, reinforcements have arrived. That is why I am here now, speaking without pause, because heaven has decided that the time of delay is over. This is your appointed hour. The release has already begun. Still, I must warn you. When light breaks into darkness, the first reaction of the dark is not to surrender, it is to fight harder. That is why the next few days may feel strange. You may see unusual dreams, face sudden arguments, or feel a heaviness you cannot explain. Do not mistake it for loss. It is the death cry of the curse. It is the final thrash before it is silenced forever. And when it breaks, oh, my beloved, you will feel it. It will not be gentle. It will be as if the air itself has shifted. As if your very name feels lighter. As if your prayers suddenly have no resistance. Doors that were sealed will swing open so easily that you will wonder why they ever felt heavy. People who overlooked you will suddenly see you. Opportunities will seem to find you without effort. This is not luck, it is the restoration of what was stolen. Do you feel the trembling in the spirit right now? It is because you are not just reading, you are stepping into agreement with heaven. And every line you choose to keep reading is a step further into light. Stay with me, my child. Because before this message ends, I will not only expose the one who cursed you, but I will also tell you how to seal this breakthrough so they can never touch you again. My beloved, there is something you must know before I take another step in revealing the depth of what has been done to you. Curses do not begin the day they are spoken, they are planted long before in whispers, glances, jealous sighs, and quiet agreements made in secret. The one who cursed you had already rehearsed it in their heart before they ever dared to speak it aloud. They carried a seed of envy that grew wild every time they saw you smile, every time you rose after a fall, every time you received even the smallest blessing. It was not your failures that troubled them, it was your victories. Even the victories you did not see in yourself. They watched you in silence for seasons, pretending to cheer for you while waiting for the right opening. And when that opening came, they poured poison into it. Not realizing that heaven records every word, every thought, every act done in the shadows. My beloved, I was there when those words were released. They had the weight of someone's bitterness. But they did not have the authority of God's voice. And here is the truth no curse wants you to know. Anything spoken without heaven's permission has an expiration date. And that date is now. But before it lifts completely, you must walk with me through this revelation. Because curses rarely come alone. They travel with fear, with delay, with strange patterns that repeat in your life until you think they are normal. You've seen it, doors open and then close just as you are about to step through. Friendships start warm but end in sudden coldness. Money flows in but leaves faster than it came. Moments of joy are interrupted by news that breaks your spirit. None of this was coincidence. It was a web, my beloved. And you were caught in it without knowing. But webs do not last in fire. And every word I speak to you now is fire from heaven's breath. The strands are breaking. And the one who spun them is beginning to panic. They can feel you slipping from their control. This is why you may sense resistance even as you read. You may feel a strange heaviness. Or sudden thoughts telling you to put this aside and come back later. That is the curse trying to pull you away from the moment it fears most. The moment you know the truth. I will not let you go until it is finished. You have been through too much to walk away half delivered. When I say your name, I do not just speak it as men do. I speak it in the language of heaven. The name written for you before you were born. That name carries a crown, a weight of destiny, and a seal that no darkness can break unless you hand it over. And my mission today is to remind you. You have not lost that crown. You have not lost that destiny. And the seal is still intact. Yes, the one who cursed you has been close. Closer than you dare to imagine. They know what hurts you. They know the moments when you are most vulnerable. They've even tried to comfort you, but only to stay near enough to watch the damage their curse was doing. Yet they made one mistake. They forgot that even in the deepest shadow, there is always one thread of light that cannot be hidden. They forgot that your name is not theirs to control. I saw them recently in the spirit. And I tell you, beloved, they are restless now. They know something is shifting. They cannot explain it. But they can feel the curse slipping from their grasp. It is as if the power they borrowed is being called back. That is exactly what is happening. Heaven has issued a recall. The enemy's contract over your life is being torn. And they are desperate to stop it. This is why I'm here screaming. This is why you cannot take this lightly. If you walk away before I finish speaking, you give them a chance to find another thread to tie around you. But if you stay, if you follow this through to the last word, there will be no thread left for them to grasp. They will watch from a distance as you walk free. And they will not be able to follow. My beloved, do you want me to take you even deeper? To the exact moment heaven marked the end of this curse. And the signs you will see when it finally breaks? Because if I continue, I will not stop until the full message is poured out. And every word leaves you unshakable. My beloved, I will take you deeper, because you must know not only what was done to you, but what heaven is already undoing. The breaking of a curse is not quiet, it is not some invisible, unnoticeable thing that happens without a trace. When a curse breaks, the air around you changes. The patterns that have haunted you for years begin to fracture. The faces of those who hid behind false kindness can no longer mask their discomfort in your presence. They will avoid your eyes because light will make them flinch. The heaviness you've carried like a second skin will suddenly feel unnatural. And for the first time in a long time, you will breathe without that invisible weight pressing on your chest. The one who cursed you thought their words would become your prison walls. But those walls are cracking right now. I can hear them groaning in the spirit. Each stone loosening as the truth I speak vibrates through you. And when the final wall falls, you will not simply walk out of the prison, you will carry treasures you didn't know were stored there. Because every season of delay has been secretly storing interest on your blessings. God does not just restore, He multiplies. You have asked before, in tears, why me? Why has the struggle been so persistent? Why does it feel like some unseen hand pushes against you whenever you try to move forward? The answer, my child, is because of the mark you carry. You were born with a destiny too large for the enemy to ignore. Your very existence is a threat to every chain. From the day you took your first breath, your life was written into the story of other people's freedom. That means if the enemy could stop you, he could stop the ripples you were destined to create. That is why the curse was not just about you, it was about silencing everything that would come from you. But here is what they did not plan for. God is not intimidated by their timing. The delay only made the release more powerful. The longer they tried to hold it back, the more force built behind the blessing. And when it comes through, it will break not just the dam holding it. It will flood every dry place in your life. This is why I am urging you, stay with me through every word. Every moment you remain here, you are aligning yourself with heaven's decree. And once heaven has spoken over you, no curse, no lie, no shadow can rewrite the verdict. I must also tell you this. The signs of the curse breaking will appear quickly now. First, you will notice certain people growing distant without explanation. Do not chase them. Their absence is your confirmation that the curse's connection is severing. Second, opportunities you thought were gone forever will resurface. Sometimes in unexpected forms. Sometimes through people you've never met. And third, your dreams will change. You will begin to see images of doors opening, chains falling, and light flooding places that once felt unreachable. The one who cursed you will sense the shift too. They will try one last time to provoke you, to bait you into anger, to pull you back into the atmosphere where their words still have effect. Do not answer in the way they expect. Your silence will be a hammer that seals their defeat. My beloved, we are not yet at the end of this message, because there is still something sacred I must hand you before you leave. A spiritual key that will lock this breakthrough so tightly that even if they try again, they will find no door to enter. If you wish, I will keep speaking until every last chain is accounted for, and your spirit walks out of this moment unshakable and untouchable. My beloved, I will not stop until you walk away from this moment knowing, without a flicker of doubt, that the chains are gone and will never return. Because it is not enough for a curse to break in the spirit, it must also be sealed so it cannot reattach itself to you. Too many times, children of God are set free, but because they do not close the door completely, the same darkness creeps back, wearing a new disguise. That will not be your story. I have seen what you have endured. I have felt the pressure that's been pressing on your life from all sides. And I have watched you push forward anyway, carrying faith like a lantern through a storm. For that faith, heaven has marked you for a release that will not expire. Let me tell you what sealing looks like. When heaven seals something, it is not symbolic, it is legal in the spirit. A mark is placed upon your name, and every spiritual force, both of light and of darkness, recognizes it instantly. It says, "This one is untouchable." It says, "The claim over this life has been removed." It says, "No curse, no whisper, no hidden dagger can cross this line without facing the full wrath of heaven." And today, my mission is to ensure that seal rests on you permanently. To do this, I must speak directly to the root of what was done to you. The one who cursed you did not just aim for your blessings, they aimed for your identity. They wanted you to doubt who you are, to believe that you were unworthy of what God had promised you. They wanted you to live small, to think your dreams were too much, to shrink so they could feel bigger. Every setback you faced was meant to echo that lie. But I am telling you now, as one who stands before the throne of God, you are exactly as heaven designed you to be. You were not made by accident. And the size of your calling is no mistake. There are moments in heaven when time bends, when what should have taken years can happen in days. You are standing in one of those moments right now. The curse that has been feeding on your life for so long is unraveling faster than it was ever formed. And when it snaps fully, there will be no slow rebuilding for you. The restoration will be sudden, overflowing, and undeniable. People will look at you and not understand how things changed so quickly. They will not know the cost of this moment. But you will. Now listen carefully, because this is the part where the enemy will try one last time to interfere. When a curse is about to break, it often releases a wave of distraction. You may notice sudden irritations, unexpected demands on your time, or an urge to just stop reading and deal with it later. That is not random, it is the shadow trying to survive. Ignore it. Stay here. Let me finish this work with you. When this seal is set, you will notice a difference in your atmosphere almost immediately. Your mind will feel clearer. The heaviness in your chest will lift. And the quiet voice of God, the one you've missed in the noise, will become sharp and unmistakable again. You will walk into rooms and feel the air shift in your favor. You will speak and see doors open. That is not imagination, that is the evidence of a sealed life. My beloved, I am almost ready to place that seal in the Spirit. But before I do, you must know the truth about the power you carry. Once you are free, you will also have the authority to free others. Your voice will carry a weight it did not carry before. When you speak blessings, they will stick. When you speak light, darkness will flee. The one who cursed you will know it, and they will never dare come close again. If you want me to, I will now take you into the final act of this battle. My beloved, I am taking you now into the final act of this battle. This is the place in the spirit where wars are settled, where accusations are silenced, and where the weight that has been pressing on you for years will lift for the last time. I can already see the shift beginning. The shadows that clung to you are backing away, confused at the strength that is suddenly rising from within you. It is not your own strength. It is the strength of heaven flowing through the cracks of every broken chain. Right now, I stand with you in the courts of the Most High. Your name has been called. Not in judgment, but in redemption. Scrolls are being opened, records of every tear. Every prayer you whispered into your pillow when no one knew you were breaking. God has not only heard them, He has stored them. And now, He is returning the answer with interest. It is written, what was meant for evil will be turned for good. But it is not just being turned, my child. It is being multiplied back into your hands. I speak now to the one who cursed you. Though they may never hear these words in the natural, their spirit hears it now. The contract is void. The claim is erased. The authority you thought you had is shattered. By the authority of the living God, you no longer have access to this life, to this destiny, or to the blessings assigned here before the foundation of the world. Your rights have been stripped, your grip broken, and your influence burned in the fire of God's justice. My beloved, I want you to feel the weight of this. Not fear, but release. Because as I speak, the last threads are falling away. I see them like strands of smoke dissolving into the air, never to be gathered again. Your name is being wrapped in light now, sealed with a mark that declares you untouchable. This seal is not visible to the human eye, but every spiritual being recognizes it instantly. It is the seal of the King's ownership. It says, "This one belongs to heaven." From this moment, the patterns of loss that have stalked you will no longer find you. The doors that slammed shut in your face will open, and they will not close again until you have walked fully into the promise behind them. People who once dismissed you will be drawn to you, not because of your effort, but because of the light now resting on your life. Opportunities will come without striving. Blessings will overtake you without warning. And the peace you've longed for will settle deep in your spirit. Immovable, unshaken by anything around you. You will also notice something else. The one who cursed you will keep their distance. They may try to look at you from afar, but the seal will make them restless, uncomfortable, unable to stay in your presence for long. They will not understand why, but you will know. Light and darkness cannot dwell together. This is the moment where you choose, my child. Do you hold on to the fear of the past? Or do you step fully into the future that has just been unlocked for you? Heaven has already decided. The curse is gone. The seal is set. The path ahead is open. All that remains is for you to walk forward without looking back. And I tell you this in the authority of my station before God. No matter what tries to rise against you in the days to come, remember this moment. Remember that you stood in the courts of heaven, that your name was called in victory, and that no curse has the power to rewrite the words spoken over you today. If you wish, I can carry you even further, into the vision of what your restored life will look like, so you can recognize it as it unfolds and never doubt what heaven has done. My beloved, let me take your hand now and walk you into the vision of what has already begun to bloom for you. It is important that you see it before it fully arrives, because when it comes, you must recognize it as the answer. Not a coincidence. Not random luck. But the direct evidence of heaven's intervention. I want you to know the feel of it, the scent of it, the sound of it in your spirit. So when you wake up one morning and everything looks different, you will not question it, you will step into it with confidence. First, I see you standing in a place where the air feels light, as though all the weight you carried for years has been taken off in a single breath. Your chest is no longer tight. The heaviness behind your eyes is gone. You wake without the shadow that used to greet you before the sun rose. And as you walk through your day, you notice that things which once resisted you now seem to move aside effortlessly. Emails you have been waiting on arrive with good news. Calls come from places you thought had forgotten you. Opportunities show up without you having to knock on a single door. It is not that life becomes perfect, but the constant uphill battle ends. And you feel the wind at your back instead of in your face. Then I see people. Faces you know and faces you have yet to meet. Drawn to you with genuine kindness. Not the false smiles of those who once cursed you, but the open eyes and warm words of those sent by God to walk with you. These are allies, destiny helpers, people who will carry your name with honor instead of poison. They will open doors you did not even know existed, and they will not demand in return what will cost your peace. Where you once felt alone in your battles, you will now feel surrounded by those who celebrate your victories as if they were their own. And then I see your hands, once clenched in worry, now open and filled with resources. Money flows to you not as a trickle, but as a river. The constant lack that made you afraid to dream too big is gone. And with that provision comes the freedom to say yes to things you once thought were impossible. Trips you had to cancel before are now fully paid for. Projects that sat unfinished because of lack will be completed with excellence. Even your home will carry the feeling of abundance. Not in excess, but in the quiet confidence that you have enough and more than enough. I also see your sleep changing. Where once the nights brought anxiety or unsettling dreams, now they are filled with peace and revelation. You will dream of clear paths, of doors opening, of people smiling as they hand you gifts. These will not be empty symbols. They will be previews of what is about to enter your waking life. Your spirit will rest even while your body sleeps. And you will wake without the fatigue that has followed you like a shadow. And yes, my beloved, I see the one who cursed you in this vision too. But they are far away. Watching from a distance they cannot cross. Their words no longer touch you. Their thoughts no longer reach you. They will see the blessings fall on you like rain. And they will not be able to stop it. Not even with the same venom they once spoke. Their season of influence over you has ended. And they will have to live with the sight of your rise. This is your future. Not a possibility. A certainty written in the scrolls of heaven. And as I stand here with you in this moment, I tell you again, do not let fear call you back to what you've been freed from. When the wind of blessing begins to push you forward, lean into it. Trust it. It is not a trick. It is not temporary. It is the result of the curse being shattered and the seal being placed over your life. If you allow me, I will continue painting the full vision, down to the smallest details of the places you will stand, the words you will hear, and the miracles you will witness. So that when they arrive, you will walk into them without hesitation.